If you're the type of person that likes to smoke a little something and then go on little adventures, yeah, just don't do it in Mexico in the middle of the night in the mountains, or this may happen to you. Why am I so dramatic? If an adventure is what you want, well, an adventure is what you'll get. If you watched my videos from last week, there was a story about this guy and his friend who would go to the mountains to smoke some, and they end up seeing a horse lady. I remember saying, hopefully he learned his lesson, hopefully he doesn't go there again. Yeah, no, he went there. He went there with his friends again. So let me share the story that happened. Of course, I almost forgot. Okay, so we all know him and his friends go up the mountain to smoke a little bit, but this time he says that they went up the mountain in motorcycles. He explains that as they're riding up the mountain, they can hear almost like hyenas laughing. So he knew that it might be some sort of animal up the hills with them, because all he would hear are like, it just sounded like laughters, but he knew that it was coming from animals. I don't think there's hyenas in Mexico, which is why I don't think there were hyenas. He explains it as it sounded like hyenas. The sounds definitely didn't stop them from going up the mountain though, and he says they were enjoying their time riding their motorcycles, and that sometimes they would even separate into different paths, but they would come back together again. So in one of the moments where they did separate and went to their own paths to ride the motorcycles, he says that he hit a turn and he accidentally fell. The motorcycle actually fell on top of him, and it made his leg like bend in a really awkward position. He wasn't able to take that motorcycle off of himself, so he started screaming for help, hoping that his friends would hear him, but it didn't seem like they did. He explains how he was laying there, wasn't able to move, and all he could hear were those like laughters that sounded like hyenas. In that moment is when he saw that there was a truck coming up one of the trails, and they stopped right next to him. This man gets out of the truck, helps him get up, puts his motorcycle in that truck, and even takes him home with him. Once they get to this guy's house, the guy's telling him that he's so lucky that he found them up in the mountain. The man explains to him that as he was riding to his house, which was up in that hill like close by, he was noticing all of the witches that were surrounding the mountain, and those hyena laughters that he thought were coming from animals were actually coming from the witches. He was really lucky that guy found him, but also like, please don't tell me there's another story of him going up the damn mountains again. Actually, never mind. If there is, we at least know he's safe, because these are stories from his like teenage days, because he's already like much older and he's just retelling stories that happened to him when he was young. So maybe he didn't go back, but I guess we'll find out if he has more stories to share. But anyway, what do you guys think?